Hello everyone, we finally got our hands on a mid-lane Zhong Kui game, so that's a small miracle. Now, just to recap, Zhong Kui's worst role is mid lane. There are a couple of reasons for this, which I will reiterate here, but I have spoken about them in previous episodes if you've watched those recently. One, he's got no escape, and unlike in the solo lane, where your primary concern is just the jungler coming to gank you, but you're also building protections, so it's not that big of a deal. Compared also to ADC role, where you're in the duo lane by yourself after a certain point, and you have two worries, the enemy support and the enemy jungle coming over. In mid lane, you have to worry about literally anyone coming over. If any rotation is going to happen, it is more likely than not going to be to mid, not from mid, because both solo lane and the duo lane can very easily just rotate on over with very little problems. Because of that, you get a lot of people visiting mid lane, and Zhong Kui with no escape and as a mid lane role isn't likely to be building much in the way of protections. Maybe a little bit, but not too much. That comes down to personal preference, but typically no. So you really want to play safe with Zhong Kui. You're really not going to try to stick your neck out too much. You really don't want to rotate too often unless you're really sure that you're going to arrive on time. That is another unfortunate thing about Zhong Kui. He is extremely slow. He has terrible rotations. I've mentioned this in other roles, but it's particularly egregious in mid, where mid tends to rotate to other lanes. Zhong Kui is not great at this, so you do have to kind of keep that in mind. You have to really well anticipate a need for a rotation before you even make the attempt, because otherwise you're going to either be too late or you're going to get picked off, and either way you're losing farm. Now, when you're running mid, you always want to expose evil first. Then you're going to get Book of Demons second, then Exorcism third, and then you're going to boost expose evil. That is your primary wave clear. Okay? It's very, very important. Now, your starter item is going to depend on the situation. They have a mild predominance of physical. You could go Sands of Time for the cooldown. This is typically what I do as a personal preference. I could go into Vampiric Shroud just as easily. Blood-Soaked Shroud is really nice on him. Okay. So there is that, but that all comes down to, again, personal preference. I don't think there's enough going on here for me to just not go for Sands of Time. And our very next move is going to be, I'm actually going to surprise you very slightly. I typically open with a nice Spear the Magus, and there are a couple of rather significant reasons for this. Actually, can I grab a nice Hog? Yeah. We're going to grab Hog here, and then we're going to grab Aegis. Yes. So, what we're really doing here is, very specifically, you want to be playing safe. You want to be... Do you not have Hog? You do have Hog, you just didn't use it there. Alright, fair enough. I guess I'll hog this. If I'd known that, I would have hogged that. I thought she was going to hog that. I typically hog speed. I know some people don't like that idea. Okay, she'll hog that. I guess I'll save my hog for later, I guess. I know some people don't like to use Hog on speed. I like to, because that means the assassin gets there just a hair faster. Okay, that was absolutely fantastic. I'm going to use this health potion here. We're going to get our... I was a little late because I got stuck on the minion. That is my fault. We could have gotten a nice kill there. Oh, he's going to die from that. There we go. Now we're going to stun him for pretty huge damage, and that's going to draw the minions away from my minions, so that's fine. That actually worked out really well. That's actually another reason why you want... There's two reasons why you want Book of the Demons second. First is you get that nice auto-attack boost there. We're actually going to absorb HP from him because I don't want to keel over. You get the nice second auto attack, basically, and then you also additionally get a very nice stun out of this, which is, again, huge to survival. Okay. That's unfortunate. I'll be honest, I did not think he was going to be that aggressive. My boy, Raijin there, but that's fine. We're going to keep the hog because that's going to give me a really quick grab of my damage buff if I really need it. Now, he got the kill for that. Okay, that's unfortunate. Oh, no, he got the kill for a Wheelish. So, yeah, I was a little too far up there. You could actually see me go past the halfway point there when I really didn't need to. That's why I died. I got more poke there than I really needed to get there. I didn't time that right. That's not a huge deal. The damage camp is almost up, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and clear this really quick. He tried. We're going to focus on the wave here more than anything else. 3, 4, boom. And then we're going to increase Expose Evil, because again, that is our primary mode of wave clear. We want that ready to go as quickly as possible. We're going to go ahead and quickly absorb that so we can just use Hog right afterwards. We get some healing. We get to eliminate the camp really quickly. Oh, she'll be fine. She's made it out. Now we're just going to do this. Now, the reason why you can actually see this working here, one of the reasons why I like the Hourglass is because you get your mana back, obviously. And yes, I know that the totem there was working away its magic. Good. But combine that with the Hourglass, you get a lot of mana regeneration. I mean, look how much I'm getting with the Hourglass and the totem increase. She's very aggressive. If I'd known she was going to be up there, I would have been up there with her, but now we're going to play this safe. I stunned him. We're going to heal up that damage back. Raijin's still around, which is interesting. Wish I had Blink. I don't normally get Blink on Zhong Kui, though. Definitely not first relic. Never get Blink as your first relic on Zhong Kui. Please, get it as... If you're going to get Blink on Zhong Kui, get it as your second. You almost need Aegis. There are certain exceptions to this rule. I would argue Anubis is one, for instance. Someone who can just decimate you if they get the stun on you or whatever. So now that these are all up, we're going to grab this. 1, 2, 3, 4, heal. Excellent. Okay. He's backing up. And this is exactly... If he'd caught up to me, I'd be dead. 2, 3, 4, heal. Yes, yeah, I don't want to press this. And they, I'm guessing, know this. I should probably clear the wave before I do anything. If he gets particularly aggressive, I have my ult and my Aegis. 1, 2, 3, 4. Always count. You don't necessarily have to do that out loud. I am doing it out loud for the benefit of you, the listener. Hello. I'm not surprised he pulled that stunt. Let's see if she can grab him over here. Oh, hello. Oh, I walked right into that last one. I can't believe I survived that. I'm going to die if I don't go back right now. Now, the reason why you get Spear the Magus first is because everything you do does damage, so your damage output spikes considerably when you have this. You've got a nice magic power bonus, you've got a little bit of lifesteal, you've got some magic pen, some flat pen, and you've got the incredibly powerful passive. And that's going to be good for the whole game. Now I'm going to go for Spear of Desolation as my next item. Mostly because I want that passive. The ability to get cooldown reduction from kills and assists is supremely powerful on Zhong Kui. And again, we're playing mid lane, so we are trying to, get that emphasis on the abilities. I'm less concerned about the magic power. Again, he has low scaling compared to a lot of mages. it is nice to have magic power, and you shouldn't be, like, dodging magic power, but it's not the primary concern when you're playing a mid lane Zhong Kui. It really isn't. It's more of a nice to have than a need to have. What are we doing over here? We having a good old time over here? Don't run away. Stay and play. Oh, I am so doomed. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Maybe. I'm dead. Yeah. I overcommitted. They're going to pick up maybe both of them in exchange, which would be nice. If they could... Nope. It looks like it's just an even trade. It's a bit unfortunate for me, but it's not, like, game-breaking. Again, Zhong Kui plays decently well from behind. I do have to hurry and catch up, though, before we start team fighting, because as the mid lane, it is one of my primary responsibilities. Please take out the Raijin. So close. Is that his ult again? Ah, that's too bad. That was bad. I mean, that wasn't a bad decision by her. I can understand why she went for that, because if she could take out the Raijin, that would put me in a much better position. But the fact that she died to him, or he got the assist probably at, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not even gonna exorcism. I don't need it. Grab the stun increase here. That's always the second thing you should increase is in mid lane Zhong Kui. You need that stun duration to go up. Actually, I can grab, I think, these. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have Gilgamesh there, so I'm going to play this one safe because I'm assuming Raijin is nearby. And I don't want to fight that. I might not even need to use Expose Evil here. There's Raijin right there. Yeah, we're going to take this slow. We're not going to use any mana on this. I can take a little bit of minion poke. It's not really that big of a deal. And they're going to press this pretty hard because I'm alone in lane. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, I'm staying on my side of the field. We're going to try to stick with my side of the field because it's very dangerous to go alone. I'm ahead of Raijin, though, because I've been able to farm the jungle better than him. 3, 4. There we go. He's alone in lane. He's backing up. 1, 2. If Gilgamesh hadn't shown up... yeah, they're going to try to focus me out. This is pretty normal for mid lane, getting focused like this. You kind of want to focus the mid lane, because again, if you can get the mid lane behind before the team fighting stage, it's very... Well, I won't say very hard. It's much harder for the mid laner to come back from that, because they are supposed to be getting involved in team fights, and if you can prevent them, if you can keep them low enough, they're not getting me low enough. I'm level 9. I'm about to hit level 10. Raijin's level 10. Just got there himself now. Probably off the assist from me. Or did he actually get the kill? He actually got the kill for me. Okay, that's what pushed him over there. But still, I'm not so far behind that I'm going to have a particularly difficult time recovering from that. I'm a roughly Raijin's level. Raijin's doing better, but he's not farming the jungle as well. So I'm okay. Despite their focusing of me, I'm doing all right. And I don't anticipate any particular difficulty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom. And I think overall this isn't really going to be that troublesome. Okay, Gilgamesh is still over here. And it's the Gilgamesh that's turning the tides. I could have had Raijin there if Gilgamesh wasn't here, but that's probably why he was over here. There's Vaughn as well. Get rid of that. I'm going to clear this wave and I'm going to go for my damage buff. If he gets aggressive, I know he's got allies nearby because it's the only time he gets aggressive with me. Okay, he hasn't got allies. Well, he's got Gilgamesh right there, but I must be far enough back where he doesn't want to take that risk. Are we actually committing to this? I guess so, but I don't really like the idea. Okay. I can take care of this really quick. And then get out of here. That's going to put me back much closer to where I want to be. I kind of wasted that, to be honest. Okay. Yeah. I should be fine. No, we're fine. There's oh, well, he's found an opportunity. Nice. That was pretty fire, actually. Really well played there, Rat. I gotta say. I don't know why he ulted in, but okay. Can we do anything with this? I don't really think we can. Is this something... Can we do anything with this? I'm not sure. Should I commit here? Yeah, why not? Let's go. Ratatoskr is beefy as hell. There we go. Do we... No. We want to retreat. He's going to just chill. Okay. My dude. We need to get out of here. Did I actually hit him with that? I did not. Okay. I was kind of curious if I hit him with the Expose Evil, but I didn't. Okay. Can I have a hot minute to heal up and clear that? This Ratatoskr is absolutely on fire. What the hell is this? No, you back off. I know Gilgamesh's ult is not up. I am completely wrong. Wow, I was wrong, so wrong. Alright. Can I actually... I shouldn't be backing here. I can't... I wouldn't be able to survive that. I'm going to intentionally activate the Fire Giant because I want to create that lava field there as a kind of defense mechanism. Oh, she gave me a heart attack. I thought she was fighting someone. I had a total heart attack. I'm gonna get Puri here because between Rvan and Gilgamesh, I think there's gonna be a lot of crowd control that I'm gonna want to dodge. We're gonna grab Spear of Desolation here, and then my next move is, let me see, what do I really want here? That's a good question. I'm kind of feeling either Ratatouille or Bancrofts. You know what? I might actually... No, they don't have enough self-heal for that. I'm going to go for Bancrofts. I want that lifesteal. I want to be able to have that little spike in power going on there. Mostly it's about the lifesteal, honestly. I'll probably grab Typhon's Fang and then clean up with a nice Rod of the Booty. Two, three, four, boom. Okay. I don't particularly like this fight. They have much farther they can fall back to. And I'm just not a big fan of the idea of chasing them that deep in. We're gonna leave this alone. I don't want this. I have no interest in this. I want to take these mid-harpies and bail. Okay, so that's gone. I'm gonna go for my damage. Now that... Poor Sobek. That's probably why he's been missing his dashes. The Ratatoskr coming over to mid and absolutely slapping everyone down was a huge help to me. I stole some of his kills by accident, but it really helped put me in a prime position. I mean, look at this guy's score. Are they gonna... They're not gonna need my help for this. Are we actually concerned about this or no? I'm going to say no. I'm going to go to my lane again and just continue farming. I don't need to be in the right lane. I don't think Robin's posing any serious threat to right lane. I lost about half a wave, but that's fine. I'm about a little ahead of him. It looks like I'm about a half a level ahead of him, maybe. He does not want to fight. I don't want to fight that. I don't want to fight that. I don't want to fight that. That is in their territory. I do not want it. Same I am. It is not worth the risk. I have my damage buff already. I don't need his right now. One, two. I actually miscounted. Do it now. There we go. I have my Aegis. I have my ult. This is actually a fight we can take. They just whacked. We always have Ratatusker potentially coming over if we need it. That was intentional. I wanted to just stop him from getting out of there. Oh, nice. Excellent. I got stuck. That's not a problem, though. We can take him, hopefully. No. Okay, he's out. There's no way we can chase that. But we do get this for free. So it's going to be really awesome. Alright. This is excellent. Okay. Now, I intentionally let Ratatusker just to have that because I have my wave right here. I want to feed him as much as possible at this point. He's already massively ahead of Jormungandr. He's 5 levels ahead of Jormungandr, which is huge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Still don't have over 1.0 attack speed, so we're still counting to 4 seconds. We just have 1 now, so we're still going to count to the 4 seconds just so that way we don't take any risks here. Once you get past 1.0, which is where I'm at right now, 1.0 exactly, then you can count to the 5. I've mentioned that before. I'm not sure I was so specific about it, but I have mentioned that before. No. You will not. Come on, try me. I am 2 levels up right now from Raijin. They're gonna do that. I'm gonna just get off this wall. Shoot. Good play. Get him, get him. Yes! Tasty. Okay, hello. This looks like a job for ult. That shall save my life. Alright. I have no mana. I probably should get out of here, but you know what? Let's do that really quick. Okay, now that I have the minion wave here, we can go back. They're all dead. I just didn't want to be interrupted by minions, so that's why I went all the way back to the minion wave for that. Bancroft Talon. Alright, that's good. I do want Typhon's Fang. Now, why am I building lifesteal on mid lane Zhong Kui? I've never been quite so particular about lifesteal. Again, it comes down to just the lack of a lack of escape. I am still going to be a primary target as the mid laner. I have the very devastating Spear of the Magus, and you can see that being very effective. I have a lot of large sweeping abilities. I've got my Book of Demons, which is a circle around me. Behold, just for example's sake, that is a 360 around me. Same thing with the ult. That is a large area that I can affect with my ult that I can potentially hit them with that Spear of the Magus passive, which is huge. Just overall, Spear of the Magus is incredibly potent on Zhong Kui. Regardless of what build you're going for, it's incredibly useful a lot of the time. Are they seriously fighting us under Fire Giant? Can we take this? Or are we fighting this all the way here? I don't see why we would want to chase them to mid lane. We can take this. If we're fast. If we're fast, we can absolutely take this. I don't need to be tanking this. Oop. I'm just trying not to die to this. would be really convenient. There we go. That was a little touch and go because we were we kind of waited around a little bit for that one. That was not as quick on the fire giant as I expected it would be. I'm gonna let her just take those. I'm just gonna get the assist here. I would have liked the minion wave to be coming through so I could full heal, but I'll take the slower heal, I guess. You know what? I'm just gonna go back. I want to grab Typhons. Start to work on Rada Tahuti. Now, when you evolve Rada Tahuti as a mid lane Zhong Kui, there's actually a very important question you have to ask yourself. Does the enemy have access to a lot of silences? If so, it's actually worth getting the Rod of Nimbleness, or whatever it's called, to increase your attack speed. Because if they're silencing you out of your abilities often enough, then the attack speed is going to be kind of what you fall back on. Right? So you do want to have that as a backup, but only if they have a lot of silences. Like, one enemy having Ansley is not enough justification to do that. Is he really? Oh, I barely missed that. Get stunned. Get killed. Alright. This is going to be pretty huge, I think. This is going to be a big fight for us. That was my tag. Sorry, Rhett. I did not intend to, but that's just out of my control at that point. Yeah, they're not going to catch up to him. There we go. Oh, he sacrificed himself for the good of the cause. No, get stunned. Oh, get killed, I guess. I'm gonna die here. Yeah, that was kind of inevitable. Once Ravon started going on me like that, that was over. But that's fine. We got a lot of them down. We took a Phoenix for that. I'm a level up on Raijin. I'm probably fairly decently ahead of him in gold. Yeah, I'm ahead of him by a grand... Oh, by 1100 specifically. So that's fine. And Ratatosker is just absolutely mopping the floor with them. Honestly, that's fantastic. Is he able to solo this? That's the question. Does he have crits? No. He's got auto attack. He's got full auto speed, and oh, that was close. But that was a really good job. Anyways, back to the point because I got distracted. They don't really have any silences going on here. None of them have Ansley. None of them have access to a silence, so I won't be building the auto attack speed rod. But do keep that in mind, that if they have an abnormally large number of silences... Oh, they just surrendered. But it was still a long enough game where you can see the late game Zhong Kui coming together there. Excellent game. Excellent match. Now, the reason why I was building the way I was specifically... I'm going to recap my build here because it is a decent bit different, and it is very important, again, that it's not really so much about the... it's not really so much about the power of these things. It is way more about the functionality, right? Again, you are a mid lane Zhong Kui. Zhong Kui has no escape. Your only real method of survival is the stun. You could really see this in the early game where I was having quite a bit of trouble surviving the early game, and that's mostly because Sobek was busy helping out Kernanos in right lane. That is his job. That is fine. That is absolutely not a criticism. He was doing the correct move there. He was able to push the Kernanos to be doing better than Danzabaru. That was important. I am not arguing that. That is 100% fine. But I had to play safer, and you could see where in the early game I was a bit too aggressive at the very beginning there. I died for it. I pulled back. They were still, leaning on my lane pretty hard. I died a couple more times. That's fine. That's totally understandable. Again, Zhong Kui, with his low scaling, can recover a little bit more easily than a lot of his contemporary mid laners, right? Now, the first thing I did want to get, and I discussed this originally when I bought it with Spear the Magus. I don't care how early or late in the game it is. Spear the Magus is absolutely incredible on Zhong Kui in all circumstances. There is never a bad time to build this. It's even worth... I even sometimes splash this in games where I'm playing ADC Zong. Occasionally, not that often, but if it's an abnormally tanky enemy team composition, Spear the Magus can go a long way in that. And I have splashed it into auto-attack builds in which there are a lot of very tanky enemies. Be that as it may, it is a strong, strong item on Zhong Kui. I know a lot of people go for a Spear of Desolation with most mages, but I tend to prioritize Spear the Magus usually because, first off, that passive is incredible. Second off, that little bit of magical lifesteal can really help Zhong Kui survive. Maybe a mage with... typically, I'll build Spear of Desolation on mages that have an escape, where that cooldown and that passive can really help them get out of trouble. But Zhong Kui doesn't really have that option. It is the second thing I build here. Obviously, I have the Sands of Time. I'm going to explain why I prefer Sands of Time over Vampiric Shroud for a mid lane Zhong specifically. There was a discussion in the comments on Vampiric Shroud on Zhong Kui. I'm going to talk about that a bit more specifically at the end of this. But Spear of Desolation gives you 10% cooldown, which is obviously really nice. You're trying to get those abilities out. The passive is really nice. The main thing to take away here is that it's taking 2 seconds out of your stun. The other two abilities are nice and all. The Exorcism is nice for the healing, etc. That stun is the key, though. The passive on Spear of Desolation is vitally important for Zhong Kui's survival. Right? Now, in this particular instance, went into Bancroft's and Typhon's Fang. This is because the enemy team was leaning on me very heavily at the early game. I did not expect that to change throughout the match. I wasn't entirely wrong. I was partially wrong on that. They were so distracted by Ratatoskir that they really didn't have time to focus on me. But it was a reasonable assumption to make, so I went into some lifesteal here. Typhon's Fang is really nice. Now, I don't typically go into lifesteal against really heavy tank comps. I'll use Soul Reaver instead. I'll use E-Staff. I'll use that. But this was a relatively squishier enemy composition. They had support Gilgamesh, who is not as tanky as your typical Guardian. They had Ravon, who was building hybrid, but he didn't have any magic protections, so I wasn't really worried. Jormungandr wasn't building defensively enough. In fact, he didn't have any magic protections until he started working on Cloak. Gilgamesh himself only had one form of magic protections. They really didn't have the magic protections they needed, so I knew that I wasn't going to need much in the way of percentage penetration, so I was able to get away with Bancrofts and Typhons because they really didn't have the protections to stop me. So in situations like this, where they do have very low magic protections, or they just are a lower defense comp overall, lifesteal is a lifesaver, because if they're not building protections, they're building attack. They're going to try to blitz you, and the best way to survive that is by healing yourself back up. You're able to do more damage to them, so you might as well take advantage of that and heal off of them, right? This also allows you to link up with Spear the Magus really effectively, which again is a mid lane Zhong Kui. I can't remember the last time, since Spear the Magus got this passive, I can't remember the last time I didn't build this on Zhong Kui as mid lane. I'm going to be really honest. I almost consider these two spears an almost must on mid lane Zhong Kui. Almost. I would never go so far as to... Well, there are a couple of items I have said are guaranteed musts, but these are near musts. You almost always should have these. In Typhon's Fang, again, you've got the 10% magic pen, you've got all that lifesteal, the power boost, same thing with Bancrofts. Bancrofts would have put me at a nice, comfortable 20% penetration, which is about where I wanted to be sitting based on how little defense they were building. It would have been enough to allow me to damage Gilgamesh a decent amount, and my flat penetrations would have been enough to punch through the defense of literally everyone else. I mean, consider he had 46 magic protections, right? He wasn't getting any boosts to his magic protections. I had 24 flat. I'm cutting his protections by half just with the first two items that I built, the two spears. Jormungandr, not a whole lot different. He was just starting to make starting to increase his protections, but I'm still reducing that by 24, so it's only down to 50 magic protections, right? Gilgamesh actually had the most. He was almost at 100. Ravon, again, had no magic protections. I'm cutting his protections basically in half here. Same thing with Denzabaru. The flat pen from both Spear of the Magus and Spirit of Desolation are absolutely incredible in the early game, and this is also why I build these two so early a lot of the time as well. And then you get the percentage penetration at the end. Now, the reason why I run Sands of Time, and I'll usually go into the amulet, I can't remember for the life of me what it's called, the one that increases your power according to how much money you have, that gives you 20% cooldown reduction. This 20% cooldown reduction combined with the 10% from Spirit of Desolation will put you at 30% cooldown, which means once you start buying power pots, you're at 40% cooldown reduction, no overcap, perfectly smooth. And this is typically why I'll pick up Sands of Time over Vampiric Shroud on Zhong Kui. Now, I did mention in the comment, I'm actually going to shout out the commenter because it was a great, an absolutely great question. I'm so glad they asked. Michael Craney, fantastic question on the Zhong Kui. You know, when I bust out a delightful Vampiric Shroud. Typically very physical heavy compositions. Now, in this particular circumstance, I didn't build Vampiric Shroud because of a couple of very specific reasons. One, they, out of their three physicals, Danzabaru, Ravan, and Gilgamesh and Ravan typically build hybrid. Now, there was no guarantee the Ravan was going to, but the Gilgamesh usually does, and he was actually building full tank here, so that it accidentally became the absolute correct choice. So I wasn't expecting overwhelmingly large amounts of physical damage output coming my way, right? So there's that. Secondly, it doesn't offer you as much cooldown, and for the mid lane, cooldown is important because, again, you are trying to just slap the Spear of the Magus passive onto as many enemies as possible. You want your stun up as often as possible because you're going to get focused out, things like that. So you really want that cooldown, right? Now, if I had been solo lane Zhong Kui, I probably would have gone for the Vampiric Shroud against this particular composition. It would have been a mistake because Jormungandr wound up being the solo lane, but I didn't know that at the time. I was actually assuming right off the top that Gilgamesh was probably solo. I was wrong. Clearly, so were they. I don't like Gilgamesh in the support role, and I'll talk about that when I get to Gilgamesh's videos. But yeah, overall, that's why I went with this direction. Again, if they had been tankier, I would have gone Soul Reaver. I almost went with Soul Reaver this time, to be completely honest, but when I realized that they weren't building magic protections, including Jormungandr, who did not even touch magic protections until extremely late in the game, I realized that I really didn't need Soul Reaver. Despite the ostensibly tankier comp, they were all ignoring magic protections for some reason. So I didn't go with Soul Reaver, but it was close. Mentally, I almost did go into that. Right after Spirit of Desolation, I almost went to Soul Reaver. And that's why I checked what they were building. But that's overall why I built the way I did with Zhong Kui, and that's kind of how you have to think about it. Really, what you want to be aware of at all times is your stun, right? You don't want to be too aggressive. I'm actually pretty happy with the match because I really showcased why you shouldn't be too aggressive with Zhong Kui in the early game there, and I was able to once again demonstrate Zhong Kui's ability to come back from behind. Although I wasn't really that far behind, I was a little behind, but I came back beautifully thanks to Ratatoskir giving me the opportunity to do so, and just really roll on up to where I need to be. Now, I want to take a brief moment to also do a comparison here of Zhong Kui to Raijin. Now, we've already talked about Zhong Kui's scaling, and I want to explain why Raijin had a bit more of a hard time coming back, right? Primarily, he really shouldn't have. I keep forgetting his scaling. Because I keep changing his scaling. I mean, this is 13% for Pete's sakes. It used to be 15. He used to have higher scaling. No, he really shouldn't have had as much of a problem coming back as he did. I mean, the Ratatoskir was curb stomping him, obviously. But, yeah, nope. I was going to say, his scaling is higher than Zhong Kui's. It's really not that much. It's about the same as Zhong Kui's. So never mind about that. I keep forgetting that they nerfed his percentages. But yeah. that's Zhong Kui in mid. Now, again, keep in mind it's risky playing him in mid. It's not his best role. But I hope that this series has really opened your eyes to the potential of Zhong Kui. As long as you're careful playing him, you can do a lot with him. He is incredibly versatile. He can build almost any item and make it work, as long as you know what you're doing with the item, and as long as you know what you're doing with Zhong Kui. And there really isn't a situation in which Zhong Kui is bad in. There are a couple of people he doesn't play particularly well against, notably Fenrir, Ares, Artemis, people with really serious levels of crowd control that they can bring to bear. Artemis is actually a standout because she can stun you with the boar and then throw a trap under you while you're stunned, and then you're basically at that point dead, which is not abnormal for a lot of people, but Zhong Kui doesn't even have the ability to dash away or something that a lot of people have. You would have to rely on the idea that once you get out of the trap, you can close the distance, stun her, and then leave, which is obviously counterproductive just by describing it that way, right? But there are a handful of people he's not great against because he doesn't have an escape. But again, careful play and smart building will get you through those moments. And if you fall behind, he has a great time coming back from behind because his scaling is so low that he really doesn't care if he's behind too much. So it's not that big of a deal if you fall behind. He's a very forgiving character, which is good because he, again, has no escape. So being a very forgiving mage to play is very helpful. And I've noticed not a lot of people have been playing him, and it's probably because he doesn't have an escape, but he, frankly, doesn't really need one. Depending on how you play. He really isn't for highly aggressive players, although even aggressive players can do extremely well with him if they play him like a magic warrior, as hopefully the solo lane video exemplified. But he's somebody anybody can use, right? I talk often about mages or characters to have in the back pocket, right? These are people that you can fall back on. This is actually kind of the reverse of that. I don't care how you play. Give him a few games. Give him a couple of tries. Give him 5 games, right? If you've never played him before, you've never played a mage before even, give him 5 matches of the same type. Get yourself used to a single mode. I would recommend either Arena or Slash. He's very good in those modes. It's risky to put him in there. Again, he's got no escape, but he plays extremely well in those particular modes if you play him right and build him right. But I don't care what your playstyle is, give him a try. If you're a more cautious player, you'll find yourself more effective playing him as a mage, as a classic mage, increasing his abilities and playing mid lane like I did here. If you're a more aggressive player, you're going to want to play him like I did in solo lane. You're going to want to build some protections, build a couple of attack items, and then go to town. If you're somewhere in between those, you're probably going to want to play him as an ADC. Because that's going to be a nice balance between staying alive and slapping people hard. And you can even splash on some protections with an ADC Zhong Kui. For example, if you're seeing a lot of magic opposition, you can throw Shogun's Gusari in there and not really affect your damage output too much. As long as you have Gilded Arrow at the very least, you're pretty much golden. Pun intended. But unless they seriously change him in an update, that's all I'm really going to say about Zhong Kui. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like this. Now I have the inability to speech. If you liked this, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, please ignore me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, ideas, suggestions, or requests, please leave them down in the comment section below. And yeah, have a great 24 hours.